Welcome to the Vector Garden. In this video we are going to talk about how you can draw these kind of shapes with ease and also how you can variate them. Let's go into a new file and let's first create that base object. So I'm going to take the ellipse tool, draw an ellipse, and then make a copy of that by just dragging it with the Alt key down like this. Now we have two. I'm going to get rid of that fill and let's just take these two and then take that shape builder tool, press the Alt key, get rid of these like this. And the next thing is I'm going to keep these and I'm going to join them. So let's go to Object, Path, Join, and let's make another copy like this. And then let's make the stripes. So I'm just drawing some lines around here, just in irregular distances, just like that. And next I'm going to use Live Paint and let's fill them. So first of all, let's turn off that stroke because we do not need it. And then let's select that green color like this and just paint every other one. And you see, this is an equal number of them, which can make this kind of complicated. So I'm going to add another one. So let's just double click this and just draw another one here. And let's get out of here. And it's part of that, that's fine. So again, turn off that and pick up that color. So it's already selected, but if you want to pick up, press the Alt key and then click on it and then paint like that. I'm going to duplicate this another time so we can take a look at different options. And in here, I'm going to paint these in-betweens. And I'm not going to do that in this one. And with that one, I'm going to just pick up this color like this. So we can make it layered with this one here, because that has some advantages. But let's first go in there and I'm going to take the direct selection tool. Let's just select these 2 points and copy that and then paste in front and apply a width profile. And let's just increase the stroke width and then select these two and apply a different color to that. And again, of that, I'm going to make a copy. So we have several different base shapes for this. Now the first one, I'm just going to take this and then let's open the brushes panel and let's just drag that in here and make an art brush. Now, of course, you can take any tool that draws a path, but I'm going to use the brush tool. And let's just draw the plant. So we have a nice plant that has these leaves. And if you now want to make them a little rough or stylize them, let's go to the Appearance panel, select them, and then you can apply effects. So let's go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and roughen them. That looks very rough. So let's turn down this a little and make this smooth as well. And you see this looks quite weird. So we have all these faint lines in it. You might like that, of course, and this might be just what you're after. But the reason that this is happening is because of something in the Appearance panel. So roughen always gets applied initially in front of everything else. So first of all, the path gets roughened and then the brush gets applied. You can also take this and drag this to here and then it gets applied in a different order. So now first the brush gets applied and then everything gets roughened, and that looks different. So you see in here, because all those shapes that the brush consists of get roughened, we get these white gaps in it. Again, this might be what you're after, and then you can just go with it. But if you need that differently, then it will not work this way. And we will take a look at that in a minute, how you can build the brush differently so that it does not happen. You can also apply different effects, of course. We can take a look at stylize, and this is the stylize in here, not the stylize in there. So here we have the scribble. And then you see it gets scribbled, and you can select different angles and get a different effect of that. And that's interesting as well. You see in there, you get a nice texture. But if you apply that to a brush, and you see scribble is applied afterwards, so it is applied to that brush, then all the shapes in the brush get this applied. So again, you might want that, but maybe not. With scribble, you always have to keep in mind that it will create a lot of paths. So what you will have inside of a PDF that you send to print is this here. Let's go into outline view. So this is what you get with scribble. Always keep that in mind because it might slow down your file. So I'm going to delete that. Let's take a look at what you can do differently. We have all the different shapes that the brush consists of. First of all, let's duplicate this live paint, and let's go to Object, Live Paint, and expand that, because we need to take a look at what we get. So let's go to Object, Ungroup, and then you see all these shapes are neighbored. And that's why we get the white gaps when applying effects. That might not be what you want, and in that case you can build it differently. So that's what I did here. We have these two, and of course you can build the brush from overlapping shapes. So let's make a duplicate of those, and when you build it like this, so let's align that a little better. I'm going to go into outline mode. There is the anchor. Let's just drag that. And now it's aligned perfectly. And then, of course, you can take these and again put them on top of that and build it like this. And then you do not get gaps. Let's just drag that in here, make an art brush. And when I then exchange those, then you see there are no gaps in that. But of course, in the background there still are, because below the green there is nothing else and everything is in the brush. So that does not work. But with this one, it will work. So you see with the roughened one, it does indeed work. So what's the next thing you can do? Maybe you only want to apply roughen or scribble to the medium green. Then they cannot be in the same brush. What you can then do, so let's first take this, and then I'm going to make another copy first. So let's just set them to black, and let's take this and make a copy of that as well and set that to black as well. And this is a CMYK file, so you can use the 100% black one. So let's go to CMYK, and you see this is correct. If you are in an RGB file, this needs to be RGB 000. So now we have this here, and with this one, the stroke needs to be black. Okay. So then we can take these and drag them into the brushes panel like this. Go to OK. And then we need to use the method tints. Okay. In this case, it's simple because they are all the same length, because I have taken care that there is a shape at both ends, so that I do not need to create an invisible rectangle. So we can just go ahead with this, set this to tints as well, and then take this and again an art brush, and then set this to tints like this. So then we're going to make a copy of these like this, and I'm going to delete all the appearances, and then we need to build that new. So with all of them, let's first apply this brush here, and we're going to set this to the dark green. Then we're going to make a copy of this, and in here we're going to apply this one, set this to the lighter green, and then we make another copy and set this to this brush, and then set it to an even lighter green. So now we have the same thing, but we have built it of separate brushes. So we can go in this one here, and let's go to the scribble and apply the scribble just to that brush, like this. And then you see just that one is scribbled. And of course we can now select the single ones and apply the angle of the scribble. But also we could apply roughen. That gets a little more tricky in this case, because we have built them differently. So let's first get rid of scribble here. And then if we want to roughen that, we cannot just apply that roughen effect, but first we need to go to Effect, Path and Outline Stroke, like this. And afterwards we can go to Distort and Transform and roughen that. That looks quite weird currently, so let's just turn that down a little, and just like that. And then we need to get roughen in here. And you see, just those are roughened. So that's also what you could do. Also, this bright green outline of that leaf can be created in a different way. And for that, I'm going to make another brush. So let's put this on top of that one again. And let's just take it down here. So there is the anchor point, and move it to here. So they are precisely aligned. And let's just take these two and make another brush. So again, we've got an art brush that looks like this. The next thing is we're going to apply that brush, and I'm drawing a deliberately very curvy stroke for that. So let's apply that. Okay. And then we need to change the hierarchy of all these objects. So what we need is a group. I'm just going to group that, and thankfully Illustrator allows to have one object in a group. And then let's apply a stroke to that. And you see this stroke makes all these lines here, and we need to have that united. And now what I'm going to do is going to Effect, Pathfinder, Add, which unites us. And you see it also makes a shape here, which we do not need, obviously. So I'm going to undo that. And in order to get what we want, what I need to do is go to Effect, Path, Offset Path. And this is nice. This is all we need in here. And I'm just going to OK. And then let's just highlight that and go to Effect, Pathfinder, Add. This is nice. So now it has created the shape that I want. And of course, we now need to shrink that again. So let's go to Effect, Path, Offset Path, apply the new effect, and just reduce that, like this. And now we have the thing that we want, and we can go to the width profiles and perhaps apply that one. And this is a little boring, so you might want to experiment with it. Apply that one. It's a little more interesting because there's variation in it. And of course you can create your own and vary it according to what you want. So that's another method to have variations of the brushes that you want. So you have seen different methods that you can use in order to vary your brushes. You can apply different effects, and when using these three, you could even vary the colors so that you can have your illustration in a very lively way so that it doesn't look very uniform.